let's switch up a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll go into the state takeover of education and education in general. What are your thoughts around what I will call the problem in public education right now, like Providence?
Yeah. It's a huge problem. And I mean, from the moment we moved here, I knew this. So I should say from the beginning, like, I went to public school. I'm a really big fan of public school. We don't have children at all. So if I did, they'd be in public school, but it's easy for me to say as someone without kids.
Well,
so.
my kids all went to public school.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they all went. They all went to Martin Luther, and then my daughters went to classical. My son went to Hope. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I'm a really big fan of public school. My husband also went to public school. And I think, something that was flagged for me really the moment we moved here. So our realtor pointed out, like, okay, well, we're going to help you buy this, we're going to show you some houses on the east side. And, this was like a long time, this was like a decade ago, but, so I was younger then. It's just like, well, call me back when you have kids, I'll move you to Barrington. And that was the very first thing we hear, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the very first thing you learn. And I loved my realtor. She was great. I had all sorts of weird requirements, like, can it have, like, be south-facing and have, all these energy efficiency, so she was, like, down to roll with all my weird requirements. But that was, the immediate messaging.
That's striking.
And my husband's a professor at Brown, and I wear that's the messaging that people who are working at Brown or, moving here for some of these, like, knowledge-based jobs, like, that's the messaging they're getting. Like,
yeah, right.
You're not going to invest in this community, we'll move you right from the beginning. And so I think of that a lot. Just because
I'll be thinking about that a lot.
Yeah. And how do we, so one, I wanted, like, if elected, I want to do a lot of work, and even if not, I want to do some work with the realtors around, like, how do we better sell Providence? Because that's part of the problem. You get people believing and thinking, like, oh, well, the responsible thing for me isn't to put my kids in these schools, I have to move. And then parents who would dedicate time and resources to the schools leave and move to Barrington or elsewhere, or send their kids to private school.
Right. And then that's another way of de-investing in public schools, because when you send your kids to private school, you're not going to invest in public schools as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I've been trying, since I don't have kids, and so they're not in the schools, I've been trying to spend a lot of time learning more about the schools and, like, what's been going on, and reading, like, all the reports and talking to a ton of parents and teachers. And the thing that strikes me a lot is it seems like the main constant for the schools has just been, like, constant change. Like, every year there's a new superintendent or there's a new plan, and then we don't start doing the plan, and then a new superintendent gets hired. They just want to do a whole new plan. And the parents are tired, the kids are the real losers, the teachers are losing out. Like, I was talking to a teacher who said, like, every few years she just had to throw away her books because they were going to do a whole new curriculum. And she's like, I just bought these. Like, and it's demoralizing, like, for the teachers who are really spending a ton of time in the schools. They're like, we have some really great teachers. Anyway, so it seems like there's, a lack of stability and a lack of, like, leadership. And I'm anxious for the schools to return back to Providence. It seems like this takeover is not succeeding, and also poorly timed to have the state takeover happen under the last governor. It's going for, like, 2 or 3 months, then oops, another change, she leaves. Like, it's just like this constant thing. So, I'm trying to think through what, like, if elected, there's certain roles the city council plays, there's certain roles other people play, and I'm trying to suss out how can I best be an advocate for the schools in that seat. And part of it is a budget thing, part of it is a bully pulpit thing, part of it is like a partnering with the school board kind of thing. I don't know if the right solution is, like, a fully elected school board, or a school board that's, like, not just appointed by the mayor, but mayor and city council. But we need some changes there. And I'm open to other solutions, but really trying to figure out, like, what is the best role I could play in that seat. And I've just been, talking to everyone I can to get involved.
I'll say when we moved here 25 or so years ago, maybe 30 years ago now, we moved here for the schools.
Oh, wow.
So our kids could go to Martin Luther King School, which was, like, a great school. So our daughters would have a chance to go to classical, which is still a great school. And